Well, it's a thoroughly miserable day out there across many portions of the British Isles, while down in Spain it is record breaking hot. Thanks for clicking on to Vogan's European Outlook for Thursday, the 27th of April. Hope everybody is well this evening, had a good day so far. And northern portions of the UK seeing temperatures 5 to 8 Celsius, and that is well below the seasonal average for late April. Bear in mind the sun strength is now of an August strength, and certainly not feeling that way at all underneath the canopy of heavy rainfall. This is the latest radar of Weather Online. See two main areas of heavy rainfall, one across Scotland, the bulk of Scotland, especially to the north of the Central Belt. We do have rain through the Glasgow-Edinburgh corridor, but the shield of moisture is more persistent, heavy across Highland Scotland, as you can see here. Starting to clear out of Wales, but through the Midlands and particularly southern and southeastern England, we're in the heavy rainfall at the moment, and the temperatures are certainly very reflective of that rain. Only 9, 10, 11 Celsius, even 7s and 8s, where the rain is heavy and persistent at the moment. A little bit milder across Ireland, as you can see here. We've got a 15 at Shannon Airport, but look at Loch Liscarnock, only 5.1 with a wind chill of 2.4 Celsius. But check this out, folks. 38 Celsius at Cordoba Airport in southern Spain. That is a significant temperature for the month of April, that's for sure. And according to our friend Maximiliano Herrera, this is a tweet suggesting that Europe is having its hottest April day on record. Cordoba Airport in Spain already reached 38.7 Celsius, and it has in brackets rising, beating the 38.6 at I don't even know how to pronounce that, but basically 38.6 was the record set back in 2011, and going for the 39, which is an unofficial record from the CMA. I don't know what year that is, whether it's 2011 or not. But very, very impressive heat indeed. And it's not just across southern Spain. We are talking about plenty of heat extending further north as well. As you can see here, 28s, 29s, knocking the door, 30 almost to the north coast. As you can see here, 28 Celsius in southwestern France also. And temperatures are not going to be dropping off over the next couple of days. In fact, we may still see an approach of 40 Celsius during the course of tomorrow afternoon. This is the temperatures at 1500 tomorrow, according to the GFS Ensemble, the GFS Operational. And you can see here that we've got 37, I think, on the chart. But it wouldn't be surprising if we see, temperatures not getting much below the mid-20s this evening. And then, of course, a sharp rise tomorrow morning, possibly approaching 40 by the time we reach the afternoon. Then we do see a bit of a gradual drop off in temperature, I think, as we progress through the upcoming weekend here. But like I say, a thoroughly miserable day across the UK. Here at the house, I've recorded well over 10 millimetres of rain, which I know it doesn't sound like a great deal, but it certainly has been very persistent through most of today, that rain. And it's all thanks to an area of low pressure well to the west, but its frontal systems kind of to the east of the system is what's triggering this heavy persistent rain, and thoroughly cool day at that as well for late April standards. It was another cold night, but not quite as cold as the previous two that both surpassed -7 between Tullochbridge and Loch Liscarnock. You notice here that the sub-freezing temperatures were confined to the north of the Inverness area, up at Altnahara, -3.3, possibly colder than that at Kinbrace, which isn't on this chart. So certainly, chilly enough indeed. And of course, we're running out of days in terms of seeing that 21.2 Celsius achieved. We may see an approach in that, by the way, over the next couple of days. But like I've already said, if we don't surpass 21.2 Celsius by the time we reach the end of Sunday, it will be the lowest UK April maximum since 2016, I believe. Rather interesting stuff, of course. Looking at the GFS, this is of weathercharts.com, and you can see that this is the 850 temperature profile. So quite the contrast actually over Europe at the moment here. We've got some fairly cold air aloft over Scandinavia, also across the far north of the British Isles as well, hence the chilly temperatures. But look at the contrast between that and the 20 Celsius at 850 over southern portions of Spain, hence why we're seeing temperatures knocking on the door of 40 Celsius at the moment. Playing through the loop over the next few days, what we see is areas of low pressure. We'll actually go to the overview chart here, because this is quite important. The reason why we're not seeing this surge of heat over Iberia transporting all the way up into the British Isles, and if we did see that, you only have to go back to 2018. A very significant April, may I add, between a very wintry first week or so of the month, where we've seen record-breaking cold temperatures actually in places such as Edinburgh. We've seen very significant snowfall during that period in early 2018. That, of course, that came off the back of the beast from the east, of course, but we did see significant cold. I believe there was a minus 13 that month actually in the UK, but significant wintry start of the month was followed by a significant midsummer level heat. And in fact, the temperature at St James's Park in London managed to get to 29.1 Celsius on the 19th of April 2018, which was the UK's warmest April reading since 1949, actually. We're not going to get that, but, if the right ingredients came together, we may have achieved that kind of a temperature if the atmosphere was more conducive, and it isn't. And we've got this area of low pressure, as you can see here, that is crossing the British Isles here. Then we see a little bit of a kind of break in the conditions, drying out during the course of Saturday. Notice here we've got an area of high pressure, relatively weak high at that, over the UK. But you notice here we don't have that connection to Iberia here. So if we look at the Saturday afternoon period, you notice here that the while we've got an area of high pressure just to the west of Iberia, we are actually already by Saturday afternoon starting to see a bit of a breakdown in this heat across Iberia, with heavy showers and thunderstorms developing on the northern portions of Iberia through the Pyrenees, southern and central France. We're seeing this breakdown in conditions, so that essentially shuts the door to any kind of real heat. I did see one article suggesting that the heat over Iberia was going to be lifting up into the British Isles. That is definitely not going to happen, folks. And you can see here that we've got more areas of low pressure. We've got winds coming in off the Atlantic as opposed to southerly winds. But it is going to be relatively mild air in place. If we look back at the 850 temperatures, you can see that here, that it isn't particularly colder, but it certainly isn't particularly warmer either. And you notice here the temperatures at 850 have significantly come down over Spain and Portugal. So there's going to be a lot of focus over the course of today, tomorrow, and through the weekend about this record-breaking heat across Iberia. I must add that it is a short-lived heat wave, and we are going to see the temperatures coming back a little bit closer to average for Iberia through the first week of May. Now, remember I said to you in yesterday's video about the Manjulian oscillation progressing through phases 4, 5, possibly into 6. And during the winter season, that would correlate to potentially a warm pattern, a milder pattern. And I made the mention that we could start to see something a little bit warmer showing up over the British Isles towards week 2 of May. Now, if we play through the latest run of the GFS, you notice here that we've got 2 areas of low pressure, in fact 3 areas of low pressure to the west over the North Atlantic, and we have got warmer air starting to lift into Iberia once again. Now, if we have these areas of low pressure aligned, we start to kind of align that flow, tapping warm air from Iberia. This is where we may, and I have to emphasize the word may, see a little bit more appreciable warmth into the end of week 1 of May, possibly into week 2. So it might actually arrive slightly ahead of schedule, but I am anticipating the potential for something a little bit more appreciable in terms of warmth into the time frame. So this is not the upcoming weekend, but this is the following weekend. And it's mere speculation and it's mere of a hunch as opposed to anything. Uh, excuse me. It's more an idea that I have at the moment based on the Manjulian oscillation and a couple of other things, rather than it being a case that I'm confident that this is going to happen. I'm not entirely confident just yet, but if you notice here, what happens is we've got actually high pressure starting to build up towards Scandinavia, and you notice here that we do have colder air from Russia then starting to get drawn around the base of that high in the central portions of Europe here. All the while, we've got warm source air lifting out of Western Africa, the Western Mediterranean, through France, and possibly into the UK, at least the southern half of the UK, and therefore this may have some sort of validity to it with my ideas of a potentially warmer pattern starting to show up, possibly low 20s, maybe even mid-20s during this period towards the end of next week and then the early next week. And this is a correlation to that MJO shifting and progressing eastwards here. So we'll watch this space, we'll wait and see what happens. But certainly this, what I'm talking about, has got nothing to do with the heat that we're talking about over Iberia at the moment. I must emphasize that point. Looking at the CFSV2, this is for the month of May, and over the next 24 hours or so, I do hope to have the May outlook published on marfolandweather.com, and I should also hopefully talk about it here on YouTube as well. I've got a rather busy weekend coming up, and I'll kind of leave it at that. I do have a global weather and climate report coming up on Sunday, so I will have that. Certainly there will be no video on Saturday, and then next week I will be away. I will be on holiday, but I'm not going to be taking my laptop with me. But my plan is to do a video, and it'll probably be every other day because I don't want to go away on holiday, spend time with my partner, and you know do weather stuff all the time because I think I do need to have a little bit of a break from it as well. And I'm sure many people will appreciate the fact that I'm working night shift driving a lorry up and down the A9, but also I'm busy trying to provide weather content for you here on YouTube and marfolandweather.com. So a little bit of time off next week. I do have, like I say, a very, very busy weekend coming up this weekend, quite an important one, and but I will have a global weather and climate report during the course of Sunday. I hope to have a video tomorrow, and but there won't be a video on Saturday due to a couple of things. But this is the May outlook according to the latest run of the CFS V2. You notice here high pressure centered to the north of the UK. Notice here this area of low pressure not that far to the southwest of Ireland and the UK. That certainly would indicate possibility of an attack, disturbed weather trying to move in from the southwest. We've seen this before where Mays can be rather showery, rather with significant downpours, possibly even localized flash flooding and whatnot, especially for more southern and southwestern areas. Higher pressure further north tends to promote drier conditions, also potentially warmer conditions to the north versus the south. That's kind of what we've seen this year so far in terms of the April. It's been drier, it's been warmer further north, it's been cooler, and it's been more unsettled further south, thanks to blocking areas of high pressure to the north. But we'll wait and see what happens anyway. Lots going on. Keep it right here on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit that like button. Let YouTube know that you're enjoying the content, and share with your friends and family also. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.